Hello and welcome to my channel Making Crafts, and welcome to the Kat Scrappiness re-release Spring Hop. So the creative crew will all be joining in today creating cards using some Kat Scrappiness products. And so I want to first show you this waffle flower grip mat. It's a 6x6 grip mat that I ordered from Kat Scrappiness several months ago, and I thought it would come in handy today while using the Oopsie Daisy layered stencils. And this is the first time I've actually pulled out my grip mat to use it. So I'm just adding some white cardstock to the grip mat, and then I'm going to add my stencil down. And what it does is it just helps hold your paper still and helps hold your stencils. So the Oopsie Daisy stencil has two different flowers on it. So you want to start out with stencil number 1 and stencil in your flowers. So I'm just doing that, and then I'll come in with stencil number 2. So when I started with stencil number 1, I used a light yellow on one of my flowers and a lighter pink or coral color, it's in between, on the second flower. So then I'm going to come back in and line up stencil number 2, and I'm just going to add a little bit darker of each one. So I'm adding a little bit darker pink to the pink flower, and to the yellow flower I will be adding a little bit more of a lighter orange since I don't have a darker yellow. Now if you're going to use the dies, the Oopsie Daisy dies to cut your flowers out, be sure to pay attention to your stencil and be sure that the word stencil 1, stencil 2 is face up, because that way your flowers will come out the right direction to work with your dies. Sometimes I use these stencils flipped over so the flowers will be the opposite direction, but if you do that you'll have to hand cut those because the dies won't work with them. So once I use stencil number 1 and 2, I'm coming in with stencil number 3 and finishing up the bottom flower here, the pink coral flower, and then I'll come back with stencil number 2 and do the center for my first flower, and I'm adding like a little bit of orange as well as a little bit of brown, and I come back with stencil number 3 for the center as well. So for the next flower, what I'm trying to do is I'm doing it a little backwards. I'm using stencil number 2 and then stencil number 1 to do my actual flower. And then I'll come back with the center and do those in the correct order. I wanted to see the difference that it makes. So by doing stencil number 2 first, it's kind of the darker. I put the darker down first and then the lighter on top, and it kind of blends it out. And you'll see in a few minutes the difference in the flowers, even though I'm using the same color for that top flower. Just rotating my stencils in a different order makes a big difference. So now I'm using the Buffalo Plaid stencil from the shop, and this one came out at Christmas time, but I still think it's perfect for any time of the year. So I'm just adding a little bit of pink ink to the top of the stencil and to the bottom, and then at a slant going through the middle, I'm just adding in a little bit of turquoise blue. And I love how that looks. So I've gone ahead and cut out my pieces as well as stamped them, and so I've cut these squares out using the stitched rope nested square dies, and so I used the largest die for this pink piece here, and I'm also using the glitter paper. For the second one, I have come in and used the same size die, and I'm just going to tilt it a little bit. And then for this one, I have used a die that for the stitched rope die, I used not the next size down, but the third size down from the largest. I've also gone ahead and cut out my flowers, and I have gone ahead and stamped and cut out the butterfly, and I'm using Flutterby stamp set for the butterfly. So I know that I'm going through this fast, but I will list all of the products below that I'm using for my card today. And I will be sure to link to the Kat Scrappiness Shop, and the link will be my affiliate link, and it is no extra charge to you to use the affiliate link, but it does help out my channel a bit when you use that link. So today's hop is a giveaway hop, so be sure to look in the description below for all of the information on how to enter the giveaway, and you could win $15 from the Kat Scrappiness Shop. The giveaway is hosted by Kat Scrappiness, and the winners will be announced on the Kat Scrappiness channel. And here's the completed card, except I decided to go ahead and add a little bit of bling, and these are the enamel dots from Kat Scrappiness as well. So I have all of these scraps left over, and it's not that many left over from creating the card, but I decided I don't want to keep storing scraps, so I'm challenging myself to use up the scraps when I create a card, especially when it's just this small amount of scraps. So what I've decided to do is to go ahead and cut each piece from corner to corner, and it creates like a little triangle here to create a design for my card. So I'm doing each one the same. Now these strips are not all the same length. You've got two shorter ones, and they're about the width of a A2 size card. And then you have the two longer ones, which I didn't measure any of this, but they're quite a bit longer than an A2 size card. And so you can see on the side, I've gone ahead and cut out a piece of white cardstock, and that cardstock measures 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm taking the first wedge, and what I'm going to do is just line up the straight edge to the straight edge of my cardstock. And I do have a little bit hanging over on the top and bottom, but that's not a big deal because we are going to trim it off later. So now I'm pulling out one of the longer wedges, the longer piece, because we needed to go across our card. And what you want to pay attention to is to make sure that that top edge there, that little corner, be sure that that is touching the top edge of your cardstock. And then you want the bottom piece to go across, your cardstock as well, so there's no white space on there. I'm pulling out another one of the longer wedges, and I'm adding it again. And each time I'm adding them, you can notice that it's causing a slant because I'm taking the straight edge and putting it up against the slanted edge. So for this one, once again, make sure that you're matching that little corner up with the top edge of your card. We're going to pull out another one of the longer wedges, and it's important if you're following along and you're doing this that you use the longer wedges for your center of your card and the shorter ones for the edge. So you can see that at the bottom there's a little bit of white space left. I'll show you how to take care of that in just a moment. So pulling out another one of the longer wedges, and once again, I'm taking all the straight edges and lining them up against the slanted edges. And then at the end, you can see I put the slanted edge up against a slanted edge to finish off my card. Then I'm just going to bring it to my paper trimmer, and I'm just trimming off the excess. Be sure to look in the description below for the playlist. Several of the creative crew members from Kat Scrappiness will be sharing inspiration today on how to use these products that I am using, as well as other products from Kat Scrappiness. So here I'm just trimming a little bit off of the white, and you can see just a little slither, but I'm doing that to clean up that white edge that we had. But I'm not taking much off. If you'll look at my paper trimmer, I'm right inside of the 4 inches. So I'm coming not even an 1/8 inch inside the 4 inches. So here's the scraps. I'm going to just slide these into my scrap bowl and trash them. I'm giving myself permission to throw those pieces away. Now I have these 2 pieces left. I haven't decided yet if I'll keep them or not. So I had some flowers left over that I had stenciled, and I also went ahead and took some of the white cardstock and cut out another one of the stitched rope nested square dies. And this one, I can't remember what size. I'm thinking it's the 3rd one down from the largest. And I've also stamped it using the Quoken Up stamp set. It's the one that says Say Cheese. And so I've used that one. Once again, I will link to all of that below. And it had the I Love You stamp, so I used that. And then I've stamped another butterfly from the Flutterby butterfly stamp set. And I have added a little bit of spray glitter to that I got from, it's like a spray shimmer that I also got from Kat Scrappiness, so I will put that in the description below as well. And so now I'm just adding this to my card front, and then I'm adding the little roped square there, and then I'm just going to add the flower with the butterfly. And I'll try to hold it closer so that you can see the butterfly, and maybe you can see the sparkle in it. I was wanting the butterfly sparkle to sparkle like the paper, and you can barely see it on camera, but you can see it more in person, the sparkle that's within that. So we created 2 cards today with very little bit of scrap left over, and I love how both of these turned out. So I hope that you will hop along to all of the other videos in today's hop and check out all the inspiration from the creative crew. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.